Ready? Okay. All right, well, I want to thank everybody here. First of all, I want to thank Sojourner, Sojourner Truth Museum, the Capital Region Creative Corps, and the cross-sector partners that are going to join for the conversation here. The title of today's conversation is Tactical Urbanism Art and Placemaking. And so it's looking at art and social justice at the intersection of community engagement. To my right here, I have Markos of ARTners, social justice, food justice activist. I have Roz Myers of Melanin Day School Academy. Oh, excuse me, on my left, excuse me. I've got Anithia Riley, who is an educator and poet at Safe Black Space. And then, of course, Marianne Souza, who is a social wellness leader at Mary Works Production. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give every person a quick introduction, and then after that introduction, then of course we'll sit down and have a conversation where we'll be able to ask some more questions. The people that are here will be able to do question and answer, and then we'll just talk a little bit more about this particular subject. So I'm going to start with myself. My name is Yisrael, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Yisrael Farms project here in Sacramento, California. As we see on the screen here, I've got a few slides, but I want to take you through a little bit. I want to take you through a time capsule. I want to take you back to maybe like 2008, for those of us that were alive at that time, because I'm looking at a few of you that might not have been or very young. And so when we saw that time, what did we see what was going on? We saw that it was what? There were, financial difficulties in the economic system. There was banks closing, all those different types of things. The auto industry had to be bailed out. And so in response to that, we were looking at supposedly the close down of, the world basically. And so in response to that, we started to grow food in our backyard. It's about 2008, 2009. My family comes from farmers. My wife Judith, her family comes from a long line of healers and herbalists. And so as I was killing plants in my backyard, she was killing plants on her balcony at her place. And so we met each other at a chance meeting in a coffee shop. And then from that, we decided that we would start farming. And so as you see here, some of these beginning pictures, we started with about 35 square feet in our backyard. And our question was, how do you grow food, right? Because if you look at these pictures here, especially this one here, the funny thing that you'll see is that everywhere where we want food to be growing, there's nothing growing. And everywhere around that's been untouched is looking green and lush. Because, of course, I thought it was just as simple as you take a couple seeds, throw them in the ground, you water them, a plant comes up, and then eventually you eat from it. But, of course, we found that it was much different. So we took a couple of classes and started to learn and work and, figure out how the earth actually, takes place, because we spend a lot of time outside and we feel like we're natural beings. But in reality, most of the time we spend our lives going from one enclosed place to another. And most of our contact with nature is more so like, okay, I've seen a tree, I'm outside. But to really get involved with nature, to understand what her cycles around and all of the universe is what we were starting to learn. So as a result, we applied those things, and in applying those things, we were able to go from that what you see to that what you see behind you there. And as a result, we were able to grow 45 to 55% of our food in the backyard. So, just from growing food, there's another thing that took place, because at the time, our children were young, and so what we used to do on Sundays, there was a ritual that we eventually had, which was we get up in the morning, we work in the garden. Of course, you had to drag children out to work in the garden in the summertime, but I did it. Dragged them out, worked in the garden, harvested food, went inside, cooked the harvest food, and then turned around and ate outside. So that was our Sunday ritual. We did that for a long time. And so as a result, we all started to learn about nature together. And we realized that also growing food, which is good for economics, we also saw that it was good for community, good for people, and good for families, and a transformation took place. And so with that transformation, about 2011, we decided to go ahead and take our product into the community, soaps, body butters, vegetables, growing gardens, cooking food from the gardens, and of course, youth empowerment. But in the midst of doing all that, there's some things that we realized. And they're encapsulated in this picture. Anybody seen this picture before? If you're familiar with it, manifest destiny, right? So if you look at the picture, you see that there's this lady here, a white lady, blonde hair with the book, and behind her on the right side, she's got trains and electricity and boats and plows and all those different types of things. But on the left side, you see buffaloes, and you see the indigenous folks, and you see them chasing those people away. In other words, you have these settlers that are coming in with culture, ways of looking at land, ways of looking at relationships and people, and then them chasing away the old things that we used to do. And as a result, we started to find out that our people are very large landholders in America, and we realized that our food system is built on what? Racism. So as a result, we then wanted to reclaim our power because we know that there's power in the soil. The people that were brought here were not just slaves, but they were people who worked the land. And most of the agricultural knowledge that's in the United States right now that built America came from African slaves. And so it's very important to understand that the power that runs the country is actually power that came from our people and their knowledge. And then we started to realize that, of course, whoever you give your money to is whoever you give your power. And so as a result, we're on a journey of reclaiming our power, and not by asking for it, but going back to that thing which is the foundation of everything on the earth, which is the earth, right? Which is the interplay of food, animals, the way that they operate, the seasons. All those things are what run our lives, whether we're connected with those things or not. And so with that, we came up with a full line of body products. As you can see some of them here, many of you have tried those, looked at those as one aspect of what we do with the raw materials, such as herbs and things of that nature. But then also, we do nursery. Photos inside of our hoop houses. You can see we have many plants and seeds that are available for purchase on our website. We propagate plants from different other plants, which we call mother plants, and we take cuttings and fig trees and everything else, and we propagate those things, some to sell, some to give away, but ultimately, that's what nature does. She propagates and she reproduces things. So as we continue to tend and take care of her, then of course she produces things for us, and then of course, we live comfortable. We did that for about 10 years, and then of course, 2019, what happened? COVID. No more public stuff, everything was shut down. So then what did we do? We then pivoted a little bit. We spent a lot of time doing things online. It was funny because people weren't thinking about growing food before COVID came. People weren't thinking about, gardens and things of that nature. When it did come, we saw an uptick in our business, an uptick in the interest of being able to grow our own food. So we did online classes. We sold a bunch of plants through our online store. In addition to that, we were in 2021, 22, both my parents passed away. And so, not because of COVID, but just during that time. And then of course, what we then decided is we wanted to continue the dream of our forefathers and our ancestors. Because if I go back 2-3 generations, I'm in a farm somewhere, South Carolina, Texas, somebody slopping hogs, doing all those types of things. It skipped the grandparents, and then skip the grandparents, skip the parents. My dad used to garden in his backyard a little bit, kind of get me involved. I didn't want to do it. But then here I am now wanting to go back to the land. So with that, we've acquired another piece of property, Amador County. As a result, we have goats, we have chickens, we have sheep. Of course, some of those pictures are up there. And in addition to that, we've started to now do a situation to where we've got, let's see what else we got here. I think we got some chickens, baby chicks there. And what we're finding is that there's this, ecological system that takes place in nature. And the more that we can connect ourselves to that, then of course the better our lives will be, because for the greater part of all of the history that we know about, We lived outside, we lived with nature. That was just something that we did. In addition to that, we got honey here. We've got Yada, who is our beekeeper. So she makes her own honey, and she's starting her own business as a function of, some of the things that she learned when she was young, as well as we have eggs, we have food boxes coming March, April, May. June, we'll be having food boxes where you can purchase those from us. We'll be donating a few of those too as well. And what we've seen, and then of course here's some of the pictures here of the property, the bigger piece that we have, some overhead shots here. We're able to kind of just double and triple our production. And so really what we're talking about is really biodiversity. Because before we came to the United States and the different things that we've gone through while being here, which would take a whole other class in itself, we used to have a very close relationship with nature. And because we've lost that, then other things take place. For example, if you're familiar with the word kindergarten, right? It's a German word. It means children in the garden. And so even as far as Germany, they would start the education of children in nature. And so for me, I'm a big advocate of every young person at some point in their life should take care of some animals, especially, anything, a fish, whatever, because it teaches you how to take care of something. Teaches you how to take care of something that's not yourself, increases the ability to be unselfish in how you deal with things. And then ultimately, like I said, you still with life and death, because we just had 9 sheep, actually 10, and then we lost 2. And so we saw that, and we had to deal with it. If we want chickens and we want to eat chickens, then we take the chickens somewhere and we kill chickens, and then we put them in the freezer and then we eat them. Being connected to those things will make us more responsible. It will also give us the value that we need to have for our food. And so that's just a little bit about what we do and have done and will continue to do. And then of course, we'll talk a little bit more during the conversation. So I want to thank you for that period of time. And then I want to pass it over to the next person here, who is going to be Markos. And he can talk a little bit about what he does.
Should we clap? Hello everyone, my name is Markos Egure. I run a nonprofit titled ARTners nonprofit. I also run a few other identities out there: West Coast Images, Mural Expressions, Solo Arte, and graphics, art veneering products. But I'm here to talk about ARTners and what we do in the community. And what we do is we are professional mural artists, and we're community-driven artists. So our mission is the messaging of the community in various forms, from cultural heritage representation to something that's an activist calling that we need to share our larger community voice through a high impact message. Mural arts are unique, but they are not unique. We fit the category of what an image does to us emotionally. The larger, the greater, the more impacted. But not necessarily true, because advertisement completes that with the multiple images to bombard us with their product message. So as a mural artist and someone in the community, it's always been my challenge to inspire those to look beyond what is seen so regularly and take a look, for example, of what the 2 murals are just outside this building and how we feel as we drive up and see something of cultural heritage awareness. From over 120 feet on the right side to 50 feet on the left. And if we're familiar with what is happening around Yisrael and the Sojourner Troop has been doing, we've created a large project at FoodMax of the traditional art form of quilting, which highlights 5 different cultural heritages, but with the connection that we all started from this base of simpleness. And in all our cultures, quilting is involved. And it is done to provide warmth, to provide shelter, to give love and comfort to our families. My particular mission, this next calling, is to work with the BUD program. It sounds kind of funny to say the BUD program, but Burbank's Urban Garden Program. And I'm really honored to be a part of that program. That is my old alma mater when I went to high school and graduated there in 1997. And now I'll return some time ago. And what we are going to do is what he is saying is provide an educational platform to share the power of what we are doing and what we are missing. And what we are missing as a whole, and I'll speak as if you were my community, that in our communities, we're a victim to convenience. And putting in the work sucks. I don't want to work, but I don't want to work like that, but I don't want to work in that sense when I can just go here and get this engineered, designed meal that targeted to taste good, but offers no traditional value to my body. But the latest quarterback is going there, I'm gonna go there, because I'm gonna be cool like him. I wanna be cool like my friends, and fall victim to not having that power. And what I'd hope to inspire is that through the educational force and through the imagery of high impact messaging, that the youth will have that power. They will be with their boys, and they will say, "No, I don't want to eat there," and get clowned for pulling out some vegetables, but yet have the strength to be all right with that. You're still loved. You're just now funny to them. But eventually, as the good artist himself, my favorite one, Prince, says, we have to love ourselves enough when we're infectious and everyone will love us. And it's a mission. It's a mission because it's not designed for us to be these critical thinkers. It's designed for us to be convenient. It's designed for us to move beyond that to the point where if we're even in our families and we're saying, hey, I'm hungry, well, I'm gonna chop up all these things here and do this and do that, and it's gonna take an hour and a half. It may not smell properly the way you're used to, but I can go get a pizza. Hot and ready, 5 minutes and I'll be back, and we're all sitting here gaining calories, watching some program on TV, which is also an engineered marketing mission to simplify us. So food injustice, and the more I learn about it, is everywhere. And I'm a victim of it myself. I go in there and yeah, all the products that are here are the ones that they want to get you. But the ones that are down here, or the ones that are way back up there, they create a non-access for us. And again, we're faced with convenience. We're faced with time constraints. We're faced with family, ongoing things, sports and school and activities. But what we are missing is our source of foundation that will bring us to the level properly. Food. It is our main source that we all need, that sets us up. And I look forward to putting some more images out there that support this subject and show some type of distraction and how we can overcome it. So thank you, and looking forward to continuing this conversation.
Young man, what do you do with bugs? Did you deal with that?
No, the bugs is a breakdown for Burbank's urban program.
Oh,
Or Urban Garden program.
I thought you did that part of the nation.
No.
When I was a kid, I used to deal with that.